board's attorney, land use attorney, represents the planning board. Certainly, you can ask questions about the legality of the development and, or engage your own counsel to ask questions, but that attorney or me are not able to give advice to the residents
Makes sense.
regarding a project.
Understood. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time.
I wish there was something else I could tell you.
Right.
I
I
do,
appreciate it.
but there's really nothing else I can add.
No, I get it.
But don't feel that you still can't say anything.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
your turn?
I just have a question on something. Is the planning board elected, are we electing?
No, the planning board is appointed. They're appointed and they have terms by the board.
And how do we advocate against you?
The first and best thing is people stepping up and volunteering that have
I- you
knowledge
know.
and background in real estate, in land use. We struggle often to get good, high-quality applicants for all these volunteer positions because they require training. It's working in the evenings. It's rarely anybody shows up to say, hey, you guys are doing an awesome job. And they're really thankless positions. So many of us have served on these boards previously. And I would encourage anybody that wants to get involved in the town to volunteer to serve. Those appointments are made in January typically in the organizational meeting.
Thank you, Tim. That is actually the best answer that we could give you, really. We don't have people, pushing folks out of the way to get to the head of the line to be on any of our committees. And I really wish that were the case, to be honest with you, because it's sometimes very, very difficult to fill committees. And, it really is an integral part of what we do in town. As you can see now, that really can dictate a lot of things and put things in motion for the future of the town. So I would suggest absolutely anyone that's interested in any committees to reach out to town hall and say, hey, I want to be on this committee or that committee or any committee for that matter. And I can promise you, you will not be ignored. Trust me. Thank you.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Anyone else from public? Yes, sir.
So I'm Dan Renzi. I live on Timber Trace, and I was along the same lines. I'm very concerned with that building. I think the ambulance you were talking about that has to get down there is going to be stopping down there. I think there's going to be, if I had to pick the worst place to put an apartment complex, it'd be right where it's going. I think that's just a bad idea. I think you're going to have more accidents, and nobody wants to see people get hurt. That same builder is looking to build a 33-home development right across the street from Raymond Road. In fact, on my way here, I saw they gutted a trough down to do maybe surveys or whatever. Same builder. So that said, that across from Raymond is adjacent to the park. There's the old mill. That's a historic, I don't know if it's a landmark, but it's a historic piece. There's some Indian things in there. The old schoolhouse, which was a church in 1809. Nobody talks about that. It's like, what's going to happen with that? Stein, the builder, said, hey, yeah, we're going to move it and this and that. But in the proposal, there was nothing discussing that at all. So if we care about some of the history of this town, which I moved up like Erica did from Clifton Park because it got just overwhelmingly crazy. And now we have these people, and I was through all the town board meetings. I went to the meetings, and I felt like I was disappointed with the answers. I was disappointed with pretty much the whole thing. I think that we just got shut down. One of my neighbors got cut right off and said, we're done with you, because she was focusing on, she had so many things to go over. So we got to care about the history of Malta.
That was during the planning board, sir, that you're talking about?
Yeah,
During
that
those
was right
meetings?
next to
Okay.
Lynn. She's the one that got cut off. But I just was not satisfied with the whole thing. And I just have to tell you that somebody has to be accountable for what they're doing. If they're gonna make it into a Clifton Park like 146 and Route 9, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. You know, I was born and raised in Clifton Park in the 60s. So I know this may not be the right forum, but I really feel it's important to let you guys know, you all know it, how that road is now. Now we're gonna stuff something right there where people are gonna be trying to get out, and they're gonna try to cut people off. I just think that ambulance is gonna be stopping there, and also, my other I believe is a very valid point, is we don't care about the history anymore. That schoolhouse is gonna get, this guy says he's gonna move it. He's gonna build, he's gonna leave it right there until this roundabout comes in, and then it's gonna be taken over by whoever decides to do whatever with it. It's an old building. It should be preserved as an old building. It's eligible to be a historic landmark. It's on the list to be, nobody cares. It feels like Clifton Park all over again. So somebody needs to hold that planning group responsible, and that's all I got to say.
Some of us care, by the way.
I know. I feel better with you guys than anybody else.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay, different hat. Kathy Eitzman.
You were already up once before.
I'm the chairman of the Historic Preservation Review Commission. And just so the public knows, we have designated homes and sites that we try to nominate every year, but the owner has to agree to designation. So that home has been asked to be designated. And as long as the owner disagrees, we can't nominate them. They cannot become a historic site. So it has been, we have tried, and we're doing our very best to preserve the historic history that's in the town of Malta. One of the things you'd mentioned was the Indian sites and all that. We did not put a marker on there on purpose so that it would not be attracted for people to come and dig there, just so you know. We're all aware of it, but we didn't put like dig here for Indian artifacts, right? So just that. And another segue, I mean, again, we're talking about qualified volunteers. We need qualified volunteers on the Historic Preservation Commission, as many other boards. If you have qualifications and they fit the need, we welcome you. And I would definitely welcome 3 new candidates on my board. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Lynn Davis. I live in Timber Trace with the other folks, and much like everyone covered a lot of the issues, and I've sent some emails as well. But I guess one of the things that really has kept me up the last few nights since the last planning board meeting was there was a discussion regarding the ingress and the egress in and out of the facility on 67, and it was referred by one of the actual planning board members as a suicide lane. Whether that makes it into the meeting minutes or not, I don't know, but there was enough of a huff within the audience, and the actual traffic engineer said, well, we don't call it a suicide lane. But my point is that it seems that the planning board is aware that it's not only a traffic issue, but also a safety issue, that it would seem that they should be almost compelled to deny it based on that fact. And much like Christine had said, that everything within the stipulations of the special use permit already kind of tells them that it shouldn't be approved because it doesn't comply with the comprehensive plan within zoning codes and whatnot, but more so that it was acknowledged that it's a suicide lane, that there is going to be fatalities if this gets constructed.
That was
there.
along 67 they were referring to, on Route 67?
Yes. Yep, they were talking.
Leaving as far as the state is concerned and how it's funded. It's a real problem in the AM going to work and then coming home at work. It's not a consistent traffic pattern. They say. I don't agree with it. I've tried to drive, as I said, if you're coming out of Raymond Road going left at any time, it's a hazard. No question about it.
Well, without casting shade, and it's not my intent at all, without casting shade on this particular project, I know I've long had a concern that once a roundabout goes in, and I'm hoping that it goes in to move traffic at 67 East Line, it is going to do just that. It's going to move traffic. So if I'm trying to come off of Raymond Road, let's say, the best opportunity many times for anyone to come out onto a major highway is when traffic is stopped at some point up the road or down the road. Well, without a light, the chances of someone stopping are going to be fewer, and there's not going to be that length of time because, as we all know, a roundabout keeps traffic moving. So it basically, it will, I'm not a traffic engineer, I don't profess to be one, but it may very well turn into where you can only make right-hand turns coming off of Raymond Road or roads such as that, because it will be nearly impossible probably trying to turn left and head east on 67. But again, that's just my take on it, the way I see it, because when traffic's moving, it's difficult to get out onto it. So there's a number of concerns along that stretch of 67 that have existed for a while. Anyone else from the public? Anything at all? Okay, and there will be another, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Sure.
I'm a little late to the game. Sorry, I got stuck at work earlier. But
That's okay. We'll let it go this time.
my name's Chris Gittro. I live at 10 Timber Trace. My wife, my family, and I were generally new to the area. We've lived there just a little over a year now. And just a little bit about myself, my prior history. I work for the National Weather Service. I'm a meteorologist. And before I got into the Weather Service, I was an Air Force firefighter for 6 years. And I was also a volunteer firefighter in Western New York and Central New York at my former duty station, the Binghamton, New York office. So talking about traffic during particular times of the day, there's a Sunday afternoon, about 2 months ago, there's a confirmed structure fire in the town of Ballston, and Round Lake responded. They got toned out, and they sent in, I can't remember if they sent an engine in one of their smaller trucks, but I was on 67 and I could see the Round Lake like mini truck trying to get down 67, and the line of traffic in front of the responding apparatus on a Sunday afternoon at 2:45 heading west towards Ballston Spa was incredible. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe the amount of traffic. So, we're talking a little bit about, what the state says and stuff like that. That road's busy all hours of the day. There's just no way around it. So I know I work down in Albany. If I don't leave by 6:30 in the morning, it's going to be hard for me to get off of making a left off of Raymond Road on the 67 eastbound towards 87. So it's a very, very busy road, and I have a lot of concerns, as many of my fellow neighbors do, and it sounds like quite a bit of the audience as well, with regard to the safety, emergency response. I'll be honest with you, public service is just something I really enjoy doing, and I've been strongly considering either joining Round Lake Fire or Malta Ridge Fire, and my biggest hesitation is, am I going to be able to get on 67 to be able to respond to the station to get on an engine? Yeah. That's my biggest concern right now. Mm-hmm. I've been up to the Round Lake station, the shared station up here. I've been down to the main Round Lake. I've talked to a couple firefighters from Malta Ridge. I haven't done it yet. I haven't submitted my application. I got significant concerns about being able to respond when the pager goes off for a call. And, it's just luck of the draw where we ended up finding a house that we fell in love with. But that being said, I want to serve my community. It's in my blood. For many, many years, I was a volunteer firefighter and an Air Force firefighter. I served my community in the Air Force and also with the National Weather Service. Protection of life and property. That's the motto of my agency, Department of Commerce, National Weather Service. So it's just something that I enjoy doing and serving my community, but I have not done it yet for that one single reason. I've not joined Malta Ridge or Round Lake yet because of my concerns about being able to respond safely when the pager goes off for an emergency call. That's all I have. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and thank you. And I would certainly encourage you to pursue that endeavor and join one of our fire companies. Our fire chief from Malta Ridge is actually here tonight, so maybe you can have a conversation with him in the parking lot. Sorry, Pete, just threw you right under the bus, but we know you're here. If Frank was here, I'd do the same thing with him, so. But thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else?
Can I just ask a procedural question? Will all this go into the minutes
Yes,
so we can get a copy of the minutes and
our minutes are available online, yes.
forward it on to the planning board?
Like,
Not that they'll do anything.
and we are, yes, it's also going to be on YouTube because we are being recorded. But no, one of the greatest things really that our town did was if you go on the website, you can click on the notification or notify me link, and you will be notified of every and any meeting pretty much that we have. And but you can also utilize or access, I'm sorry, any of our minutes that we have. So yes, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. With that, we'll move on to our board business for this evening. First item on the agenda is to adopt the volunteer firefighter and volunteer ambulance worker tax exemption. And that is something that is near and dear to my heart. And I'm elated that this is before us tonight for resolution. And we're going to do the best we can for our volunteer fire and EMS folks out there in terms of exemptions.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is passed. Thank you all, and I'm very happy. Next item on the agenda is to set a public hearing for, to amend the low-income seniors tax exemption. That is to change the figures to make it a little bit more palatable for those folks that fall within that criteria. And
Moved. Oh, sorry.
that will be on 8/28 to set that, for that public hearing.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? It's carried, thank you. Also, on the same date, set a public hearing for to amend the exemption for persons with disabilities and limited income.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Also carried, thank you. Next item on the agenda is to allow the Roundabout Runners Club to place their banners and utilize the roadway for their race.
So moved. Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And also carried. Next item on the agenda is the announcement to honor Cliff Lang.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried, and that is to honor Cliff as a veteran, deceased veteran of the month. That's also 8/28. And that will take place at the county building on the 15th, so look forward to doing that. Cliff was also a volunteer firefighter, so looking forward to that. Next item on the agenda is budget transfers.
So the only thing on for the budget transfers is just to amend the budget to be able to accept and move forward with the Old Post Road engineering proposal that we received, to take a look at the road and the issues that we've had so far.
Very good, thank you, Julia.
I would move this resolution with a minor amendment on the first whereas, change his to her,
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
and request a second.
Second.
I'm sorry, just looking to see where you saw that, yep.
I gotta catch Steve on one thing a month. That's my goal.
Usually you are the one that does that. I don't think he takes it personally at all. So we have a motion and a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried, that amendment. Thank you, Tim, for picking up on that. Shame on you, Steve, for putting that in there. Okay, once again, we
The thing is,
have,
we've been passing those for how many months with it in there?
Kevin's gone, Steve. You gotta apologize to Julia. That's right. So we do have an opportunity again for anyone, comments, questions from town residents at this time. There being none, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Sorry.